This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. I wasn't even up on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, but I am here now, folks, for a short show, very short show. And as you can see, I'm not in my regular studio at home. I'm in my studio away from home that I'm building. You know what I'm saying? So, we're working out the kinks with this entire thing, ladies and gentlemen. Um, and, just to let you know, I'll be doing most of my shows still from home, but every once in a while I'll do a game preview here from the studio. But one thing that I am looking to do for those who are in the DC area is once I get the studio up and popping the way that it's supposed to be, I'm going to invite some fans to come into the studio for post game shows and for other shows to talk about the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, if you're ever in town, I'll invite you in as well. So those who live in the DC area, man, we'll invite you to come in and, just talk New York Knicks. So that's something that I think should be pretty dope. The Knicks play the Pistons tonight. I won't have my usual slides coming across the screen because I tried to get it all set up in time, but I wasn't able to get it set up in time. But anyway, not tonight. The Knicks play them in about 18 minutes in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena. And ladies and gentlemen, today's game is the very definition of a trap game. A trap game, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks are currently on a 3-game win streak. There's 6 games, or maybe it's 5 games above 500. I'm going to look at it right now so I can make sure I have the proper numbers for you, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, the New York Knicks are playing above what I think we all thought they would play. Right? Playing above that. And they currently sit in the 6th seed, and they have a chance with the upcoming with their upcoming schedule, ladies and gentlemen, to go on a nice little run and create some separation between themselves and those who are behind them. Now, we said this before. When the Knicks were on an 8-game win streak, we thought they had a chance to create some space between them and others who were behind them in the standings. And then they proceeded to go on a 5-game losing streak. But of course, they played much tougher competition during that 5-game losing streak. Right now, the Knicks play the Pistons, then they play the Raptors. They have a chance. They have a chance to create some space between them and those who are behind them, and then create some separation between their win and loss record. And ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks are 24-19, ladies and gentlemen, 5 games above 500, currently in that 6th seed. They're a half game in front of the Miami Heat. All right, the Miami Heat are now 24-20 on the season. So an important game for the New York Knicks because, ladies and gentlemen, it's tight. It's very tight. I see Pudge Nice said the 5th seed on the way. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 27-17, 10 games above 500. The Knicks have some work to do to catch the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know what I mean? But the Pistons are coming in, like Andy said, injured all over the board, right? And very, very true. Cade Cunningham is out for the Detroit Pistons. Jalen Duren is out for the Pistons. Marvin Bagley is out for the Pistons. The Knicks cannot fall trap to these guys. This is the definition of a trap game. They cannot fall trap, right? This is a game that they are supposed to win. They should win this game at all costs. The Knicks have scored. The Knicks have beaten Detroit each time they've played them this season. They scored. They average 130 points versus this team. So if you lose, ladies and gentlemen, if you lose to the Pistons today, that'll look really, really bad. I do not expect the Knicks to lose this game. All right, I expect them to win this basketball game. They've won 2 in a row. This will be their 3rd straight win. Okay, and then if they win this game, they'll go on to play the Toronto Raptors on Monday, right? And then and that Monday game is a 3 o'clock game, ladies and gentlemen. I won't be there, but Tony will be there, Steph will be there, Eru will be there, and there'll be some other people there, together. So that's pretty dope. But the Knicks will play the Toronto Raptors on Monday, that's tomorrow, which is a tough game. Then they'll play the Washington Wizards, then the Atlanta Hawks, and then the Raptors again before they get into a tougher schedule. That tougher schedule, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, Los Angeles Clippers, Philadelphia 76ers. So that's a tough stretch right there. The Knicks must take advantage of this upcoming stretch. Again, the Pistons, the Raptors, the Wizards, the Hawks, the Raptors. I'm going to say I'd like to see the Knicks go 5-0 during this stretch. But there's a chance that they could lose one to Toronto. It wasn't an easy game versus the Washington Wizards, right? So they could lose one to either one of those teams. But today, the Knicks have got to take care of business. It starts here. They win 3 in a row. They win today's game. All right. And, the Knicks have dominated this matchup throughout the entire season. Do it again. Jalen Brunson is playing at an all-time high. Julius Randle, since RJ's back, and I'm not blaming this on RJ Barrett. I think that since RJ has come back, Randle he hasn't shot the ball as well. And maybe there's a slight adjustment period, with RJ and Randle. Brunson is going to do Brunson, right? Brunson is going to do Brunson. Randle, I think, is, finding his way with RJ there. Again, them guys figuring out, where they fit in, the pieces fit together. Randle is a guy who can and will share the basketball, but I think it's been clear to everybody now that he plays better with the ball in his hands, right? When Randle has the ball in his hands, when he's able to create for himself and others, that's when he's really on the top of his game. So he's a rhythm guy. He needs the ball in his hands to feel the rhythm of the game. When the ball is in his hands less, sometimes he doesn't shoot as well. And I think you're seeing it during this stretch when RJ is back. Randle hasn't shot the ball as well. And the Knicks have got to figure out that, again, back to figuring out the balance between Randle, RJ, and Brunson. But I'm thinking a little bit more Randle and RJ, right? And the balance for Randle of when do I shoot? When do I facilitate? Can Randle get enough touches so that he can be in rhythm? Those type of things, you know what I mean? So that's something that I think the Knicks are working out and have been, are going to continue to work out. Brunson, of course, RJ, since he's come back, he's played well. What RJ has done besides play well and be a critical part of this basketball team. But I think he's added to the depth of this team with his return. Because since RJ, well, even before RJ went out, Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, Cam Reddish was out of the rotation, and then RJ was hurt, and Obi was hurt, and boy, the bench was suffering, ladies and gentlemen. The bench was suffering big time. With RJ back, more flexibility is added to the lineup. RJ can play some for Julius Randle if needed at the fourth spot if you go small. Obviously, he plays with that second unit, and so this is in benefit of the New York Knicks, but the bench still needs something. Now, tonight, it shouldn't be a problem, to be honest with you. There shouldn't be a problem playing the Pistons tonight. Today. I keep saying tonight, but today. Right? This should be, regardless of the bench situation, because the bench just hasn't been scoring the ball well. Maybe they're still playing well, defending well, but they haven't been scoring the ball well at all. Today, they'll need it. They'll need that bench. They'll need it much less. You know what I mean? So far this season, man, against one another, the Knicks, for whatever reason, I said they were averaging 130 points per game versus the Pistons. I was wrong. It's 114 points per game. The Pistons won 12. That's on the season, actually. The Knicks are averaging 114 on the season. The Pistons won 12. So the Knicks are averaging 130 points per game versus the Pistons so far this season. The Knicks 47 rebounds, the Pistons 42, 22 assists for both teams. The Knicks are shooting 45.5% on the season. The Pistons 45.4%, 33.8% from the three-point line for the Knicks, 35% for the Pistons. But let's look at numbers against one another. Because that's, the Knicks scored 140 points the last time they played. They beat them 140 to 110. They beat them 121 to 112 the first time they played earlier in the season. All right, so, I expect the Knicks to be able to score just as many points. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, they're averaging 130 points versus the Detroit Pistons. In those games, when you look at the scoring leaders for the Knicks, Julius Randle has been the scoring leader. In the last game, he had 36 points. RJ Barrett had 16. Jalen Brunson had 16. That's in the last game. For the Pistons, they were led by Isaiah Stewart. Bogdanovich is a guy that normally worries me, but he hasn't really shot the lights out like that against the Knicks. I mean, he shot well, but he hasn't scored a ton of points against the Knicks the way that I was worried about in the past. So I'm not as worried about it today. The first game that the Knicks and the Pistons played, they were led in scoring by, get it up here, RJ Barrett had 30 points. Jalen Brunson, 26. Julius Randle, 21. All of them shot the ball decently enough. For the Pistons, they were led in scoring by, I believe in that first game, they were led by Bogdanovich, who had 25 points. So there you go. Bogdanovich did his thing. And then, they had some even scoring all the way around, but, not enough to compete with the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a trap game that the Knicks have got to, they got to get around the trap. They can't fall victim to the Detroit Pistons. All right, they got to take care of business, be on a 3-game win streak, and then look at the Raptors tomorrow. And it's 2 weird time games in a row. The Knicks play at 1 o'clock today, just 6 minutes from now. Then they play at 3 o'clock tomorrow. With the Knicks, the Knicks haven't always played their best in early game situations. Historically, let's say that, historically. I think they've done okay this season. All right, but 2 games, early games, they've got to, they've got to be focused to take care of business. I'm not even going to break down for today's game, there's no real reason to break down all of the, the really break down strategy versus this team. I think the Knicks dominate them well. Tomorrow, we will definitely do so versus the Detroit Pistons. I mean, I'm sorry, versus the Toronto Raptors, because that's a game that the Knicks, they struggle versus that team because they're aggressive defensively. They got a lot of length defensively. Pascal Siakam has shown that he can get busy versus the Knicks. They got a point guard in Fred VanVleet. That's the game. Those two games during this stretch, those are the games that I'm worried about, to be honest with you. The Raptors. The Knicks are 1-1 with the Raptors so far this season. But I don't want to look ahead. Take care of business with the Detroit Pistons today. And then we can look towards the Toronto Raptors and whatnot. You know, um, I'm expecting big games from all three of our guys. I'd like to see Obi Toppin get off today. This is a game where Obi Toppin can get off, I think. And if Obi can get his thing on, you know, maybe it can help Obi to get back into the groove. Start knocking down the three, get a couple of fast breaks, get a couple of alley-oop dunks. Because the Knicks need the bench help. We can see if Obi and Quickley can get back on the same page. Not that they've really been off, but Obi's been out for a while. See if they can get back on the same page. And speaking of Emmanuel Quickley, I seen a report earlier today that the Knicks have let it known throughout the league that they are not going to be moving Emmanuel Quickley. Right? There were reports that teams were interested in IQ and that the Knicks had some conversations. But I think during the recent stretch when Jalen Brunson was out, RJ was out, Emmanuel Quickley stepped into that starting lineup and proved that he could I think he proved he could be a starter. And now Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose and those guys probably look at IQ as a starter coming off the bench. And a guy that if someone gets hurt, they can plug him in. He's played very good defense so far this season. He played under control while with the starting lineup. He didn't shoot efficiently, but he was still able to add some point production. He's hit some big shots. He had multiple nights where he was in double-digit assists. So I think the front office has looked and said, "Hey, we can't mess around. If we're going to move Emmanuel Quickley, it's going to be for not for draft picks, right? Probably a star type player in a package, not just the Emmanuel Quickley himself, right? But I think I'm not going to say that they're sold on him as the next great thing, but I think they look at him as a guy who could possibly be a starter. I don't know, but the issue is, will he be a starter ever on this team? And Emmanuel Quickley one day would want to be a starter. But they may not be looking to move him unless there was some deal out there that they were working on and the team, doesn't want to give up whatever the Knicks were looking for. So they said, hey, we're not moving them then. Right? And they put it out there that they're not moving them. It could be one of those situations. But I think the Knicks need Emmanuel Quickley, at least right now, especially right now. They need Emmanuel Quickley on that bench, ladies and gentlemen. Because, if you take Emmanuel Quickley off the bench, what do the Knicks have without Evan Fournier, without Derrick Rose playing? They have nothing. Nobody coming in to provide any kind of scoring punch. Right now, he's critical to this basketball team. We were talking yesterday about. I was with Eru. Eru was here in the studio. All right. As a matter of fact, Eru is the very first guest to ever bless the studio. So big shout out to Die Hard Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. The very first guest to ever bless the studio. Proud of that. Diehard Knicks, man. But we were in the studio, we were talking about trade deadline and what the Knicks need at the trade deadline and what their priorities should be. And it's got to be adding to the bench right now. In my opinion, it's got to be added. It's got to be bringing in a wing player that can shoot the ball and defend. And there's, numerous guys out there. Of course, the Knicks just played the Washington Wizards. Kyle Kuzma went off for 40. So he was on the tip of people's tongues, including mine. That doesn't sound good, but you dig what I'm saying. Right? Kyle Kuzma could fit into that spot. I seen someone leave a message on that particular video and say, Kyle Kuzma won a championship with the Lakers. No way he's coming to the Knicks and not starting. I mean, I think he would come off the bench. I think he'd be okay with it, at least for this season, if he would trade it to the Knicks. That's just my opinion. But he's a guy I think the Knicks could look at, see if he could, pull him away from the Washington Wizards. They're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything this season. Other wings, OG Anunoby, Jordan Clarkson, people mentioned. Wings like that can be dynamic, that can play 2 or 3 positions, that can play decent enough on both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the game is about to start. So I'm going to head off. I know this was a short show. It's early in the day. So, I had to get up and get flowing and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I appreciate you for being on with me. I will be doing a post-game show, but it'll be later because when I leave the studio, I'm on the way to go watch my daughter play. So I'll be watching the Knicks and my daughter play her college game at the same time, as well as the Giants. So I'm trying to catch all of that. But I will be on later on tonight. Not sure if it's going to be from here, from this studio, or from my home studio, but it'll be from one of the 2 spots. It may be from here because I don't feel like, breaking anything down and bringing it back to the crib. Because right now I'm using my home studio camera until the camera for here comes in, which should be in a couple of days. But anyway, I'm about to get up out of here. Remember, those who are in D.C., man, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have my studio, or those are in D.C., Maryland, Virginia, I'm going to have my studio open so that Knicks fans can come in and talk Knicks right here in the studio. I wish that, it'd be lovely if I was in New York and, fans, New York fans could come in and talk, but, we can't do it at the moment. But I can invite Knicks fans that's here in Maryland and D.C. to come into the studio and join us, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of fans here. Trust me. Maybe more than Wizards, which is crazy. Kevin said, don't waste time watching the Giants. Actually, Kevin, I think the Giants can beat Minnesota. I think we can get this dub tonight. Seriously, I think the Giants can beat Minnesota. You know what I mean? Hey, Kareem, you said Delaware. You can come on down, Kareem. I know you're just a couple hours away. You can come on down and join us in the studio anytime, my brother, no doubt. Because it's going to be open to you. And hey, if anybody is just in the area, you can come through too. But anyway, I'm going to get up out of here, folks, so I can get on the road and, I can watch the game and then go check out my daughter. I will catch you later on tonight. I appreciate your time and looking forward to the Knicks getting this win over the Pistons today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Peace.
This is MBK. Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.